All right. We are back as we can be. So we are going to try to keep this to maybe a 4-person minimum at the moment. Maximum, sorry, not minimum. Because I think some of our sound issues were due to too many interferences. Right? All right. I don't even know what we were talking about other than mic issues.
You were talking about, you had started saying how when you used to eat, it had to taste good. You couldn't eat
Yeah.
anything else.
There it is. This guy,
Yeah.
crisp because of his
Right?
carnivore diet intake. He knows exactly
Exactly.
where we're at.
Exactly. So yeah, I had to eat for like flavor and enjoyment, and it wasn't just flavor and enjoyment. I also had to enjoy the and because I do have a sensory perception disorder, which has drastically improved since becoming full carnivore. But before that, it was like if I did not thoroughly enjoy every aspect of it, I couldn't eat it. You couldn't make me eat it. I would starve. I just wouldn't eat.
There's also confusion growing up too. Joey, I know you mentioned a story once we were off camera, but a lot of us as kids are born into this way of eating, and we're not of processed foods, of, like you mentioned, going to certain taco fast food restaurants that end in bell. And for me, going to a meet every day and then just growing up and that being normal, and then as our cellular regeneration slows down as we get into our adulthood, then things start going south pretty quickly. And it may not be weight gain right away, but I have friends who are younger than me who aren't eating properly, and they have shoulder issues and knee issues, joint pain, arthritis. These issues are creeping in early, and people aren't realizing that it's very likely, the foods that we're eating.
Absolutely.
You
Absolutely.
Yeah, I
get
think
used to living with
absolutely.
those things, right? Sorry, go ahead, Nate.
No, you're on the money. I was agreeing with him. So go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's not even just that, like, signs, and you've never ate well, maybe, since infancy. And then it's like you live with chronic pain. Like, you're used to every time you go to the bathroom, it's a scene. Like, my stomach hurt regularly, like through high school and before that even. And like, this is just how I live. This is just life. So
Yeah,
Are there any other, like,
ideal.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say it's
Oh.
not ideal to feel that way, but it's normalized, and that's
For
the
sure.
issue. I think we need to wake up collectively, which a lot of people in this carnivore space have woken up, have the Great Awakening, but we need to share it with more people. This pain that you're feeling, this metabolic syndrome symptom that you have or that you're showing, is our bodies are fed only one way: what we eat and what we
I don't know if he's fading. James is fading in and out for me. I don't know if it's
Yeah.
connection.
Yeah.
Oh,
You guys do.
oh,
There
my
you go.
bad. Am I back?
We're
Yeah,
hearing
Are there
the
any
sound.
I was
other?
saying that it's
Go ahead, James.
He's
okay.
saying it right now.
I'll repeat what I said quickly. But we've normalized these metabolic syndrome symptoms. So I'm just aging. I'm just getting older, or it's in my family. No, it's not in your family. It's not aging. This is all habits with food.
Yeah,
Exactly.
for me personally, I've noticed, like, just like I was having, I don't know if my joint pain in my ankles and my knees were from because I was so heavy, but I do think there's some correlation between the weight loss and the ratcheting down the diet to more strict carnivore and those things disappearing. And so I think it's a combination of weight loss and the anti-inflammation aspect of the diet, where I'm not getting these things put into my body. I'm not eating and taking in these things in my body that cause the inflammation and cause the aches and the pain and the gout.
Yeah, absolutely. I know, like, I kind of had a very similar thought that I thought that a lot of my lower back issues were being exacerbated when I had all my overweight story going on. But after losing all that weight and my joints were still aching and my back would still hurt every morning when I went to wake up. And it wasn't until Carnivore, it was probably a little more than 30 days in when I realized, like, I wasn't trying to, like, manipulate my body out of bed carefully. I was just like, "Oh, I'm getting up, I'm out." And I didn't even realize it for a little while that it was like, "Wait a minute, I'm not having to, like, roll onto my side and kind of
Hmm.
push myself up and kind of inch myself out of bed," and that was completely given to me like, "Well, you've got damage to your lower vertebrae and you're just getting older." And I would be like, but I'm 32, I'm 35. I mean, I'm 41 now. So the fact that I feel better at 41 years old than I did when I was 32 years old is a huge, I think, testament to how much the inflammation reduction as well as the weight for sure, but I was still feeling that even after I lost a lot of the weight.
I
Hmm.
had a moment
Yeah.
where like in my journey where I was losing weight and like getting healthy, and like the thing that I guess I had maybe not recognized or taken for granted was like I was walking upstairs one day and I'm like, this is like I just randomly had an epiphany where I'm like, this is easy. Like why I used to struggle with this. Like this was a problem in the past where I'd be like, oh, there's stairs in this apartment complex. Fudge, you know. I guess I'll walk up 3 flights of stairs to go and handle this particular problem. So now it's like, oh, stairs, like whatever, just another day.
Right, right. I do the, stair climber thing at the gym now, and I do it in very specific intervals, so, like, I'll do 5 minutes to kind of, like, warm up, and then I'll go really, really high, speed,
Mhm.
and then I'll take a break, and then I'll go really, really high speed, and then I'll take a break, and I'm doing that specifically to kind of, like, help get my cardio back into shape. Um,
Mhm.
that's always been kind of an Achilles heel for me in general, even, like, when I was a child. But it was really interesting how it was only about a month ago or so that I started doing this with the stair climber, and my whole, like, mental thought was like, "Oh, shit, I gotta do this. I am gonna just die. I'm not gonna be able to breathe. I'm not" like, I did the whole 20-minute, like, cycle and was like, "Hmm, nothing like it would have been 5 years ago.
For
Nothing."
sure. And you start thinking like maybe I could do more.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's awesome.
I mean, I'd love to add it into that because as poor health as we've all come from, whether it's mental or physical, but I'm going to keep it on the physical side here, is we switch to feeding ourselves properly with fatty animal foods and drinks, of course, like water and removing all the junk. And then we want to move. So we want to be active. I've got to wake up every day, not just getting up, but part of my daily routine, like a must have, just instinctually now, is being active. And the way I like to do it, when I went carnivore and I was still in bodybuilding, I got the strongest that I have ever been. And I'm Joey, I'm going to bet you will might have something similar. I was the strongest. And as you many carnivores probably know, you don't get sore. Anybody
Hmm.
else have this?
My recovery is substantially better now.
Yeah, I've tested that theory. A couple things, I guess, along the same thing everybody's talking about. I did I did 500 squats like a few years ago when I was eating only meat, and I didn't get very sore. You can still get sore. I didn't get as sore. And then especially if a movement's foreign, if you're used to it, you don't get sore usually. But doing that many reps is kind of it's taxing. So I did it again. I ate a pizza and then did it the next day, and then I was literally sore for like 2 weeks. I mean, it's also I wasn't eating carbs, right? So
Sure.
you're gonna be
Kind of a
sore, but you
double whammy.
feel I feel the difference so suddenly because I went from eating only this to like testing this. And the other thing, Selena, you said you feel better now than you did when you were 30. I can say that's true for my mother too. I was part of what helped get my mother involved in this diet, and she has rheumatoid arthritis. She had been on medication over 30 years for it, and she, talk about pain, literally couldn't sleep except for in one position. She has pain
Wow.
all day long, no matter whether you're doing something or not. And, she feels better than she has since her late 20s. So
It's
That's
amazing.
amazing.
there's some things
Insane.
they're not deny.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people, when I bring up how I eat, they're like, "Oh, what blood type are you?" That's like the first thing they say because everyone's heard of this blood type diet. I'm like,
Right.
I have human blood, I think. Like I have human blood type. And it's like so does my mother and so does my girlfriend who's trying this, and it seems to be the only thing that helps her with her, she's been bulimic for over 10 years, and like I struggled with this, and it isn't just one person with one type of labeled blood type.
Right.
This is
Right.
so many people.
I remember actually doing a real deep dive into that. I forget what it's specifically called. There is a term for it, but eating the foods based off of your specific blood typing. And I remember thinking like, but would we have done that years ago? Like, would that have been a factor? We wouldn't have even known what blood type we were. Like, would that have
Right.
been a thing? Like, and I mean, the information was interesting, and some of it I could see being relevant to a degree, like based on our genetics. But the reality is exactly like what you just said, Joey. Human, like we're genetically human. So, I mean, that would be like asking a lion from a different pride, like, oh, wait, do you only eat antelope or are you strictly zebra? Like what?
Yeah.
Well, I think because the world has
It's
gotten smaller and the availability of certain things has gotten so much easier, people are, even if you're like a seasonal eater, right? Like you're eating fruit and produce out of season if that's the case, because
Right.
it's just like I said, the world has gotten smaller and things have gotten more available. Whereas
Mm.
even if you look back at our ancestors, if they were really nomadic in the aspect that we believe they were, the certain fruits, certain vegetables were A, not genetically modified in the manner they are now, and B, they're only available at certain times of the year. But one thing that was constant through the entire process was meat, either through fish or wild game that was in their area in that specific region. So it's very fascinating in the aspect that if you see people who are, they're like, well, you have to have vegetables. You're like, well, look back at our ancestors. Do you think they had access to vegetables in, let's say, northern Eastern Europe, or in
Right.
certain areas of Africa, or for that matter, certain areas in South America year round? It is 100% a seasonal thing if that's how you're going to look at it, where you think that we need those specific things. But the one thing that they always had access to was whatever their poultry or meat was available at the time. So it's very interesting the excuses people make or the logic that they try to apply and how inconsistent it can be.
Yeah. It's really funny to try and prove. I mean, I'm sure we've all listened to Bart K, and if not, I hope you do, because he's entertaining and very smart. But
Oh, he's awesome.
yeah, just claiming cause from things with so many variables, it doesn't make any sense at all. Yeah, you can claim a relation, that's fine. Like in this specific study, it seems that these two things are related to each other.
Right.
And then you have to look into like, oh, what were they studying? Did they actually take any data about these people, or was it just assumption? And like pretty much every time it's assumption or it's on a mouse. So
Well, that's like you hear people say, "Oh, well, he had heart disease because he had high cholesterol," and it's like, well, that's like going to a scene of a bus accident and being like, "Well, the one thing that's in common here is tires, and because they all have tires, this is why the accident happened." It's a variable, it's something that's there, but it's not the tires aren't the causation for the accident. It could be something completely unrelated.
Well,
So
also, I want to add to that point, a great point you're making, Nate, which is we have to collectively, as global humans, really ask ourselves, those who are dealing with modern chronic diseases, and I include the big C in this, are scared of meat. They're not eating meat. So immediately people want to say, this is going to be the cause. You just wait. No. How about you look at yourself and say you've been not eating meat your whole life. You've been eating a lot of plants and processed foods your whole life. And now you're in a situation, or your family member's in a situation, or your friend and your aunt and uncle are in a situation where they might not be around much longer. So it's quite plain to me. And I think people need to just ask themselves, it's not the meat. So you can't blame the meat. Easy. And,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
it's like blaming the wood in the house for the house fire when you know something else is absolutely the reason why it started.
exactly.
100%.
Exactly. I was, vegan vegetarian for a good huge portion of my life. When I was diagnosed with my cancer diagnosis, my endocrinologist, like the first thing he started telling me was, remove red meats, try to eat low fat as much as possible. Like everything that I was just like, okay, at the time, I didn't have the education enough opposingly, which I didn't listen to him in the sense at all, ever. But like right off the bat, the first things he told me I needed to eliminate, the first things that needed to be off the table for me. And it was like, okay, well, if that's what's a problem, why is it a problem? And that was one of the things for sure that got me interested in figuring it out. Because it was like, well, if that's the problem, why is it the problem? What is it doing to my body? Well, guess what? Everything I found was nothing to do with red meat or high fat. It was everything to do with all of the plants that I was eating.
Mm-hmm.
Well said. And Nate, to your earlier point too, I think you brought up very good, valid points, which is I am in Miami, Florida, and it's closer to the equator, and it's warm most of the year. And still, plants are seasonal. Joey,
Absolutely.
you're in Maui, it's warm most of the year, and still, plants are seasonal. I can go to any tree and try to find, something. It's not around all year, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I actually lived in Bonita Springs, Florida for a little bit, and we had a starfruit tree, and it would only produce fruit certain times of the year. And the same with our nectarine or the grapefruit tree we had in the back. Same thing, only produce fruit certain times of year. It's very much so a seasonal thing. The availability is not a realistic thing.
Yeah.
It's funny when I started like eliminating everything again from my diet, but the meat, I was like thinking once a week I want to eat fruit. Like on the weekend I kind of want to eat fruit. That was in my mind. I was like, that'll be nice. It's something different, something fresh. And then just doing it, I was like, I don't have any desire for this anymore. And I have moments where I'm like, whatever, driving home, and you think like, wow, pizza would taste really good right now. But it doesn't last very long because I'm like, you know what feels good? Like eating properly.
Right.
And I have
Absolutely.
goals. The goals keep us on track. You have to have little goals. Like if you're not living for a purpose, well then go eat whatever.
Yeah. If you're not living for a purpose, you're not really living. That's really what it boils down to.
Exactly. So when I have tried things that like my brain goes, oh man, it would be so nice to have, like you said, like the certain pizza or something that I used to just love before.
Mhm.
I've tried them since, and they do not taste the same. They don't even taste good. Not to say that there aren't certain things that still wouldn't, but like I tried a bite of pizza and it was like, what did I like about this? This was not, my memory of it is much fonder than the actual experience I would have of it now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree with that too. I'm going to stay on the topic of pizza really quick, which is So I work with people who are mostly standard eaters, and pizza's around a lot when it's just a mass gathering pizza. Okay. All right. So I'll do the carnivore way, and I'll take the cheese off the top and try to eat that. And I'll have one bite, and for one, the cheese tastes awful. And then there's a mix because it's fake cheese and processed cheese. And then there's a mix of some of that carb breading that's kind of attached to the cheese because it melted together. And I agree with you. I'm fasting today. That's ultimately what I say to myself. I'm going to fast because this pizza is not it.
Right. It's really it's just been like a really interesting place to also be able to get to as somebody who was like so addicted to certain types of foods and everything. It's like to be able to get to that place, one, that yes, we no longer have the food noise, and I'm not experiencing, that whole concept of having to have the food. But to know that I'm in a safe place now, that when I try it, I don't even really like it. It's like, what? That part, that's the astonishing part for me.
Just the rules we've placed around food, and not just food, even not food. Because like you said, James, fasting, like now fasting's so easy for me. Like it's like sometimes eating is a chore, like you guys are talking about too. And if you're not, you know, trying to actively build muscle or whatever, your goal isn't just to get bigger, but to be healthy, fasting's great. And people get taught like, oh, you can only fast so long, you need water all the time. And my mom did dry fasting for like several days, which you work your way up. You don't just jump into not drinking water, by the way. But it even helped with more issues. She still has some issues, like she has some problems with really dry eyes and stuff. But the more strict she gets, and a lot of people find this, the more strict you get, the less, the more
The more
strict you
freedom
want
you
to
have,
be.
right?
You just feel so much better.
Mhm.
Yeah, it plays into itself. And Stephen, I think you made this comment, and I loved it, which is the concept is so simple that it's confusing to most people.
Yeah, it's only difficult because it's much too simple.
There it
Yeah,
is.
that's
Yeah.
true.
That's one of my. It's an Alan Watts quote. It's one of my favorite Alan Watts quotes. He like
Nice.
What, you
applies
only
it.
eat one thing?
Humans are the most intelligent creature in the known universe, and so we think that everything has to be complicated, and that's why we make trouble for ourselves when things are just instead of just taking the simplest, most obvious, tactic or whatever you have to do, they overcomplicate it. And it can't be this easy, so let's make it more difficult. And that's especially true with diet. Imagine they actually convinced people that canola oil was heart healthy and beef fat was bad for you. We've probably all seen how canola oil is made. It's the most disgusting thing you've ever seen, the most industrially processed thing you've ever seen. And they're saying that is what's good for you. That which was only created 100 or so years ago, that's what's good for your heart, not what you've been eating for millions of years. And people believed it. That's unreal.
Or like those food scores.
Yeah,
Oh
We
my
can't hear you,
God.
Selena.
No.
Or I
I
can't,
hear you.
but can
I can
y'all?
hear
I hear
you.
you.
I got you.
What's wrong with
It's
me?
just you, Joey. It's just you. No, you're fine. But like the food
Should I?
scores,
I might exit out and come back again.
wait, really? Like what the hell?
Yeah, it's like a conspiracy here.
Yeah.
Maybe
They're
it's my fault. It's
silencing
every time
me.
I jump
They're
on.
silencing you, Selena.
I wouldn't be surprised. Would not be surprised. Hold on. You guys can hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
This is a joke.
Well,
Today is a joke.
as you're finding Joey, I wanted to mention too, like it's also people are confused from the standpoint of it take medications. It's first of all weird because we're the weird ones eating steak and fatty meat every day. Yet it's normalized to down 5 to 10 pills a day. And of the pills that people are consuming, how often do people know what ingredients are in them
Or the side effects.
or the side effects?
the fact that most people don't even know the potential side effects.
Yeah.
That
Well,
Well,
that's
that's
what's
why
funny
you're
though. Like,
downing 5 to 10 pills is
if you
because
ever watch a
every other pill
commercial,
needs another pill to
if you ever watch a
times.
pharmaceutical commercial, half the commercial is them listing the side effects, and it's
Yeah.
like, how do you like? People used to look at me. I would be like in the cafeteria at work, and there would be a commercial on, and I would just start busting out laughing, and everybody's looking at me like, "What are you laughing at?" I'm like, "Are you watching this? This is hilarious." It's
like you're
like a
watching these people frolic through the meadow, you know,
Yeah.
in
yeah,
absolute ultimate bliss while they're sitting there going, and may cause anal leakage, death,
Yeah.
you know, lose
yeah,
both your eyeballs. And you're just
or
like,
an antidepressant that might cause suicidal thoughts. Like, are you
Right.
kidding me?
right.
Like. But you guys were talking about addiction earlier. Like, I think that plays into it. That's the big thing right there is addiction. Because a lot of people are so helplessly addicted that they just want anything that they can cling to that they think will make them healthy without them having to give up their addiction. Because that's the last thing in the world they ever want to do is give up the addiction. So there's the pharmaceutical industry, and here's the ultra processed food funded nutritionist and dietitian academy saying you can do this without giving up your addiction. Just got to count calories and you got to eat less and move more, and
Yeah.
or take a GLP-1 inhibitor, or you know, it's just, and it's all quackery. And but addicts have the addicted mind is very unconscious, and they don't realize that they just want to be addicted and not feel bad about it. So
I think there's an addiction that we do not acknowledge as humans, as a society, and that's the addiction to complacency.
yeah,
Like there's, you know, we have addictions to other things that we're aware of, you know, drugs and alcohol, and addiction to food is only being talked about on like the underground surface layers of people. But ultimately, the biggest one that I experience is the addiction to complacency. People are so addicted to the ease of not having to take responsibility or do anything about it because, like you said, here's a pill. You don't have to do anything. You know, we could just give you a surgery. We could just give you a shot for that. It's like, you know what? Why exercise? We could get you a motorized wheelchair. Why? And I'm not talking about people with disabilities, so nobody take that the wrong way because that's not what I'm talking about, but I'm talking about people who have completely disabled their bodies physically because of their diet.
Well
Yeah.
said.
yeah, definitely. It's something I hadn't thought of before. It's like, and you're afraid of discomfort.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not taking ownership. I always like to phrase it as you're leasing out your life to somebody else.
Yeah.
You're not owning your own house, you're leasing it out, and it's your own life. The doctor, the
Yeah.
pill, the food, like you said, the motorized vehicle to get you around, like not a motor vehicle, like a
No.
battery powered seated vehicle.
Right. Right. I
Yeah,
mean, it's go ahead. Go
oh,
ahead.
sorry, I was gonna say the other day I was on Mark's podcast and I talked about being a first responder. Like there's this whole underbelly of society of sick people who you never see because they can't go out in public. And
Mm-hmm.
oftentimes I have to go to their homes to if they're having an episode or if they've fallen out of bed and can't get back up. And it's just unbelievable to me, like me knowing about like the whole addictive aspect of the you know, the food that people eat. Like it's just unbelievable to me that people would rather be just completely useless to themselves and just like, it's like, why do you even live just to lay in bed and watch TV because you can't do anything else? So like that's how powerful their addiction is, that you know they would rather just live. It's not even living, but I mean to them they just rather keep on with a heartbeat, rather than give up whatever, you know, their delivery pizza, or I don't even know what they eat, but
Yeah.
it's got to be nothing but delivery food, or something that people are bringing to them, which is probably like pizza or Kentucky Fried Chicken or God knows what else. But that's how strong the addiction is, because they will literally destroy themselves and have no other. I mean, what else is there to enjoy about life except for the drugs that you're consuming that they market as food? and that's too powerful for them to give up. That's just amazing to me, and it's heartbreaking.
Well,
I've
and it's
totally, sorry, Celine.
no, go ahead, honey. Go ahead.
Okay,
I'm here all the time.
I've lived that too, yeah. The depression and the addiction, and for me it was always a depression. It was always a dark thing. But I think if someone's addicted to it and it's a coping mechanism, that's a bit different. But the absolutely absurd thing, and my girlfriend went to an eating disorder clinic not too long ago, and I knew they'd teach you this. They say, here, the only way to be healthy and the way to be healthy is to eat everything and view everything as the same. Like this banana is just as good for you as this ice cream cone. And you need to be able to eat these things and not feel bad about them at all. And we're going to put you on the drugs too. We're going to give you all this medication too. So the solution is, hey, I have a problem with my eating. I want to, eat more healthy, and thus you'd have to get more restrictive with your diet. But here's the solution. Eat everything.
God,
Yeah.
that's just so wild.
Yeah, you see all the time these dietitians saying that if you restrict, like if you cut out sugar, you'll be more likely to binge on sugar. Like, it's
I I
you could,
understand the psychosis behind the concept of that. Like I
Yeah.
get that. I hear that. But here, like the reality is, well, if you're now going to eat the sugar, which is not beneficial to you physically, right? But if you're now going to eat it, you now have to be that much more restrictive in your eating because now you have to monitor, well, how much sugar did I eat? Did I eat more sugar than I had protein? Did I eat more, like it's you have to be that much more mindful about it. I don't hardly have to be mindful about what I'm eating at all.
Yeah.
And
And
no wonder people are trapped in it.
Mhm.
You're like, you go
Exactly.
to the clinic and they're like, here, eat more of what makes you feel bad all the time about yourself and physically. And it's like,
so there's a
oh, this
common
person never
phrase
healed.
that there's a common phrase which Selena, I know you and I dislike, which is my doctor. And I want to take on this same idea. And one of the things I think is false for the mainstream is you need professional help.
Mm,
Now, I know there are carnivore coaches. That's good help. And carnivore coaches are doing great in the world. But what I'm saying is, Joey, your girlfriend, what she experienced, dietitians and what they are taught in their learning in their programs isn't helping humanity. So another phrase, again, I'll repeat it one more time, which is get professional help is really the wrong mindset in the mainstream sense.
there's a
yeah.
Right.
cultural kind of like pathology, whereas like we are all stupid and useless and not important, so we have to bow to authority. So we have to like we've all heard this before. Anytime we talk about diet or health or anything, well, like, what are your credentials? Like, what
Hmm.
authority? Like, who are you to say this? And doctors are wrong. And what do you think? You're smarter than a doctor? It's like, well, doctors aren't trained on nutrition at all, for one thing. And
No.
and even though there's a ton of misinformation and just outright nonsense on the internet, which you see all the time, there's also the totality of human knowledge. Pretty much, it's basically the Library of Alexandria. If you know how to, if you know how to, I mean, you don't know how to do. I just basically say, take whatever resonates with you and put the rest aside. You know what I mean? Like, but
Mhm.
like to understand the same thing that a doctor just does or any other kind of so-called expert understands, that information that they spent all that money and time in school learning is available to you for free.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna,
And it's
I'm not,
outdated.
yeah, and I'm not going, and there's, and more, because obviously, no doctor really learns nutrition. And now that they're saying that doctors are going to learn nutrition now, and I was like, well, define nutrition.
Exactly.
But
What is the
there's,
nutrition protocol they're actually going to
yeah,
learn? Is it the same bullshit system we've been?
yeah.
Well,
And
We,
they
we,
aren't really concerned with your credentials at all. Because anytime I've talked to people who say that, I'll refer them to people with way more credentials than they've ever had and who have been like behind science longer. And they'll be
yeah,
like, wait, but they
also true.
disagree with my view. I don't
Mhm.
want to talk to them.
Yeah,
I'm
definitely.
like, okay,
Exactly.
you go talk to
Yeah.
people who agree with your view. I want to
And,
listen to both sides.
and the mainstream,
Exactly. High five on that one. Yes.
Definitely good stuff.
yeah, definitely good stuff. And mainstream doctors, who are their bosses?
Pharmaceutical companies.
Oh man, you said it.
Who literally owns the medical schools that they went to? Pharmaceutical companies. Who writes the
Pharmaceutical
curriculum?
companies
Who
and
writes the
insurance
curriculum?
companies.
Yeah, who writes the curriculum at these medical schools? Pharmaceutical
Right.
companies. I
Yeah.
Yeah.
mean,
Well, even in nutrition's like I've taken
Yeah.
nutrition courses and they'll go over some information like gluconeogenesis and
Right.
things of our body, but they frame them in a bad light, right?
Yeah.
They say like, "Oh, you're starving." It's like, "Oh, that's interesting because I'm eating food. I'm
yeah,
starving while
yeah.
I'm eating."
Yeah.
That makes sense to me. And then they won't give anything to back up that claim. They'll just say, "Yeah,
No,
be
that's
be careful of acidosis because you're starving if
And
you're
right.
eating
who owns
wheat."
the dietitian academies? The pharmaceutical industries and
Right.
the ultra processed food industries. And who owns the ultra processed food industries? The tobacco industry.
Do you know
So
how many doctors don't even know and understand what ketoacidosis is?
yeah,
Like
Mm,
how it
mm,
actually like comes to be into play. Like until you can explain it to me better than I understand it myself, you can't tell me what's good or bad for me as a doctor, as a nutritionist, as a health coach, as Joe Blow off the street.
Mm-hmm.
If you cannot explain it to me better than I understand it myself, then you are not qualified to override what I already understand.
yeah,
right.
And that's for anybody. Like everybody needs to follow that awareness of self-education. Educate yourself enough to where you understand it. And if somebody comes out with more data, more research, and more understanding beyond what we have already come to, and you look at it and you're able to deduce it and go, I guess that makes sense, then that's a choice you can make. Because this is our like biological right over our own autonomy physically. And a lot of people hand that ticket over to the doctor, to the FDA, to the pharmaceutical companies, to all of these businesses, and they forget that these insurance companies, pharmaceutical companies, even our local doctors, who I'm not saying that they have intentional harm to us, they're just ignorant because they're having to abide by these laws because, like you said, who pays for them? Who pays their paycheck? They don't know everything because they don't have the time to study everything. I'm well versed in this perspective that I am well versed in, but I couldn't go over to an aeronautical engineer and explain to them what they've got going on. I don't know anything about
Mhm,
aeronautical engineering.
Well,
mhm,
at the same token, I have two quick points I want to make to tag on to what you're saying because there's awesome, which is if you were like a psychologist, for example, and you visit a patient every 15 minutes, how would you feel as a patient? All right, hey, what's going on with you today? All right, see ya. Prescription, bye. So they really know nothing. They can tell zero about you as a human in that amount of time, and
Yeah.
they barely look at the charts. They just type in notes. Like it's a business that is not made for optimal health if you really think about it. And the second point I want to make too is for those who outsource their health to the mass market, you're not. Basically, what I'm trying to say is you have then given up your own right for your own
Mhm.
health. So people always want to talk to us as carnivores and say, well, the doctor didn't say that. The studies don't say that. You're going to get X, Y, and Z disease. No, actually, we've gotten healthier. Millions of us around the world are learning about this and engaging in this lifestyle, and we've gotten healthier. So I'm going to keep doing this with red fatty meat. You tell me, so ultimately, you yourself are saying that the studies are better than you. You yourself are saying that the doctors are better than you.
Right.
That's what people are admitting if they realize it or not. That you yourself, if you're getting healthier, you would rely on these studies to then get unhealthy.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I have family members who are unbelievably concerned about my health and well-being and my family's health and well-being and how we are raising our 3-year-old, right? And that it is dangerous and it's life-threatening because, my 3-year-old is pretty much animal-based carnivore, if not mostly pure carnivore. But yet they have cancer after cancer after cancer after cancer, and I'm talking have had 3, we're going on 3 or 4. I think we're on number 4. 4th different cancer now. They're on statins. They are on all kinds of different blood pressure medications. They're having to eliminate all the salt from their diet, according to my doctor said. They're having to eliminate all of the fats. They're having to eliminate any and all red meats, according to their doctor, and yet are continuously getting sicker. And I go, how is it my lifestyle that has helped me reverse cancer, that has helped me lose weight, that has helped me reduce all the inflammation in my body? Guess what? I just had all of my lipid panels done and my fasted insulin, and they are perfect. I mean, my LDL says abnormally high, but that's the only one.
Good.
Right?
Wait,
I'm like, oh, great.
Daddy government loves you and he wants what's best for you. This doesn't make any sense to me. He's
Oh
not
my
trying to
God.
take anything from you.
You know what, Joey? You're so right.
And it's funny because I know you've been through nutrition courses as well, Selena, and I'm sure Steven, and I don't know, James, that much about you. I'm sorry, but it doesn't really matter. They don't
Right?
help you a whole lot. But they do because they give you some kind of context, and it's really funny to read the irony because it's like they list all these vitamins and they list all the minerals, and then they're like, oh, like a big portion of these are only fat soluble. And then they're like, don't eat any fat. And then they're like, oh, just go reread what they wrote, and they're like, oh, never mind. Try and find fat in plants. Try and supplement. So yeah, we create all these problems, and that's the
Yeah.
same with all the medication. We
Yeah.
create all these problems for ourselves, and then we've deemed the solution as a bad thing. So we have to come up with all these,
These other solutions.
manufactured goods.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a financial game. I think a lot of people are so blinded to the realization that it's like, hello, these are corporations that are giving you these guidelines. They're corporations. The pharmaceutical company is not here for your health. They are a business. They're a corporation to make money. To make money. If you are well and vital and living your best life in the most optimal health, guess what? You are useless to them.
Anyone
Well,
see the MSNBC? I think it was an MSNBC article or video where Goldman Sachs actually out loud asked if it was a profitable business model for pharmaceutical companies in the medical industry to try to cure disease. They just came right out and said it. And
Yeah.
like it's just screaming right there in your face. Like they don't care about you. They want you sick. They like all they want to do is drain your bank account, and if you die, you die, and if you live, you live.
Yeah.
But we hope you live long enough that we make enough profit.
Yeah.
Well, and to all those who discredit carnivore and they want to tout the studies and tout these are the guidelines, I always respond with something we probably all do, which is, what guidelines? Who wrote them? What are the guidelines? Name them, because you know them so well. Name them out.
Yeah.
Also, list the laws of thermodynamics right now. These are just common things. Like, people use them as attempted tools, pseudo tools, to try to go against what we're finding with healing and health eating animal foods. But do you really know what you're talking about in the first place?
Right.
Are you just really regurgitating? What everybody's taught to do is regurgitate.
Regurgitate the propaganda.
Yeah. And did you, I always say, show me the study and who funded it. and then we can have a conversation.
Yeah. Example. My husband was researching a scenario that was going on, and he was like, "Man, I'm having these adverse reactions. This is what's going on." He pulls up the study, and right in the main like headline caption of this research study, it says specifically, "Do not eat the carnivore diet as it is bad for you." And then it lists all these different studies that they got their information from and where they came to their conclusion. And the one study that they got their conclusion from literally says the exact opposite of what this
Yes.
person was claiming in their, you know, deduction hypothesis. And I go to the study and I said, "Babe," I said, "this is a scare tactic. They've done this on purpose." I said, "If you actually go to the research study that they are pulling the information from, it says very clearly every patient that was on a keto diet, because they based it off of keto, high fat, but they removed all carbs and all plants. So, I mean, it's carnivore, improved all of their symptoms by 80%. But you had to be able to read and understand, not just read, but and understand the scientific languaging that they wrote it in. And if you don't, guess what? It looks like you're reading the Latin. And a lot of people don't even understand how to read these research studies. It's like going to a normal layman's and going, "Okay, can you read all of the lawyer documents that you got from court?"
And that's intentional.
Exactly. And he
Well,
was
the
like,
thing,
"This is why I sent it to you, because I knew that, you'd be able to tell me whether or not this is something we need to be concerned about." Because of course, being carnivore is so out of the norm that I'm constantly on the look of, okay, what's coming out now? What's being said? What information is there? Because I want to hear everything, exactly like you said earlier, Joey. Whether it's my point of view or not, I want to look at it all. I want to see all of it. So I
Yeah, it's
actually
interesting.
understand.
We're humans, right? So why not leave yourself open to mistake and error? Like I eat this way right now and maybe forever, but I'm not that smart at all. Like the more you learn and everyone knows this, the less you know, right? The world
Right.
gets a lot bigger. So that's why we have such specific trades and whatever. Like I'm not qualified to read scientific literature. I know that. Like I'm never gonna quote people these things. And especially in nutrition, I know that I can't prove you anything with it anyway. So right off the bat, I'm like, okay,
the
I'll
thing
tell
you
you my
might want
story.
to
I'll tell you other people's stories.
Right.
the thing you might want to keep in mind about studies, and like kind of like these soft sciences like meta-analysis and epidemiological studies and all of this, is they're not really science. They cannot follow the scientific method, because you're
Yeah.
never going to be able to control for human behavior, unless you do some very unethical and highly expensive things like sequester babies at birth and control every aspect of their daily lives except for variables.
Mhm.
There's so many confounding factors in the daily lives of individual humans that literally everything that we do can affect outcomes. So like, and that's where a lot of these studies that like they'll just cherry pick data, like people who eat a lot of red meat also have a high incidence of cancer. But what else do they do? Do they smoke cigarettes? Do they drink a lot of alcohol? And like
Is their red
are
meat
they
consumption loaded with carbs?
yeah, is their red meat consumption a McDonald's value meal or a pizza, or you know what I mean? Like there's so many confounding variables, and there's healthy user bias, and there's the signal to noise ratio is just bananas on almost all of these studies. So even if you know how to read them, the most important thing I think for the layman is that they really don't matter because they're not. I mean, like they're interesting. You can form a hypothesis off of it maybe, but
Right.
there's definitely never going to be a causal relationship established, especially by these types of studies, just because there's no control at all, zero
Exactly.
control. And that's
And
why,
even within the body, like these are
yeah,
external forces. Like we don't know that much about biological function either.
and I
You're
really,
looking at things and how they react to other things, like
yeah,
signals.
that's why we're talking about having a nutritionist certification, like, and what that means. I don't think it means anything at all to have a certificate, a nutritionist certification.
It's
But
true.
I am glad, but I got it because it's important to have accreditation. People want to know that you're certified before, especially if you want to make money off them. Or not make, I don't want to put it that way, especially if you want to earn a
Like,
living
that's
that
not
way.
like this.
Especially if you want to earn a living doing that, helping people. But
Much
I
better.
took,
Much better.
I loved those three. Like you got
yeah.
it, nailed
We
it.
got there.
But I did choose to take Coach Carnivore Peters course because it is grounded in biochemistry for the most part. And so if you understand biochemistry, like all of these studies and the data that they're throwing at you makes absolutely zero sense because I know what causes heart disease. It's glycation, which causes inflammation in your arteries. That builds up into what's called atherosclerotic plaque. And I know what causes diabetes, which is chronically elevated.
Oh yeah, really?
Sugar at all. Is it protein?
Wait a minute,
I'm not
Stephen.
going to.
We lost you for half a second. You can
Oh,
rewind.
am I back?
You're
Well, we
back.
can hear you, but we can't see you. At least I can't.
I can't see you.
I can't either.
Oh goodness.
Yeah, only here.
But we can still hear you.
I see myself, but yeah.
Looks good.
So you probably could. I don't know if you could chronically elevate your blood glucose by eating boluses of protein, but due to the satiating effects of protein, it's really difficult, I would imagine, too. But you could very, very easily chronically elevate your blood sugar by eating lots and lots of carbohydrates.
Yeah.
So all of these studies and that they'll throw at you saying that it's the red meat causing heart disease and it's the LDL cholesterol and everything, and which isn't even cholesterol. LDL is not cholesterol. HDL is not cholesterol. Cholesterol is cholesterol. It's just total gobbledygook. It's like my favorite word now, gobbledygook.
That's a funny word.
It's I don't know. It's like they're throwing all to tell you that water isn't wet and and that gravity isn't real or something like.
Well,
Like the cholesterol is there. The cholesterol, you guys were talking about cholesterol earlier, and I was like, and I'm a fireman, so I like this analogy. I was like blaming cholesterol. I was like blaming the firemen for coming to put the fire out. So.
Damn you, firemen.
I like saying the phrase to that point of all the gobbledygook, which is
right.
We are upside down and backwards at the same time.
Yeah.
Just all mixed up.
Yeah.
And I think returning for a lot of us, we know this, but it's important to share to those who aren't aware. Like science isn't what's published by the corporations, as you're saying. Science, if we want to talk about the scientific method, then do it yourself.
Yeah.
Make an observation. Step one of the scientific method is observation. Am I not optimal? Joey, you mentioned that up front. You didn't feel optimal. You didn't have a happy thought for a year. Observation. What do I need to do? Okay, experiment. I'll try a certain food and go down the line to the final step, which is repeat. Do I feel better today? Yes. Does your mom and her arthritis, her rheumatoid arthritis feel better after a year? Yes. Like this is self-experimentation. That's a study.
Yeah.
N equals 1.
Mm-hmm. And Stephen, I wanted to reiterate, because you were saying what causes heart disease. You're meaning what it's defined by, right?
Well, the mechanisms that occur over time when you have heart disease are basically chronically elevated. A lot of cardiologists are coming out and saying now that all of their heart disease patients are actually diabetic, whether they're diagnosed. So if you don't know what glycation is, it's the non-enzymatic non-enzymatic binding of glucose or sugar to proteins. So when you get your HbA1c tested, that's actually testing glycation to your red blood cells, basically. Which are, it's basically, imagine you're trying to run a race with a toddler hanging on your leg. That's basically what glycation is. It binds to the proteins, and it breaks down their function to the point where it actually dies. So your blood vessels and your red blood cells are designed to replicate themselves faster than other cells in your body, partially because glycation always occurs because there's always blood there's always sugar in your blood. So there's always glycation, but you have mechanisms in place to keep that under control as long as you keep your blood sugar within a homeostatic level. But when you chronically elevate your blood pressure, your blood glucose, the glycation becomes overwhelming to your body's systems, and that causes inflammation, which causes your blood vessels to constrict, which raises your blood pressure. And atherosclerosis, I can never say
voice
that
gone
properly.
too for you, Selena?
Stevens?
Yeah, am I here?
I
I
still
can't
hear
even
you.
hear you, Selena.
Oh,
We're
goodness.
having the weirdest.
One
Awful.
second, Steven.
It's
How about
just
now?
us. Oh,
How about
Hey.
now?
Hey.
hey, I can hear you, Steven.
All right.
Just me and you.
How about now?
I can hear you.
Excellent.
How lovely. So,
So
Steven, you're explaining all that, but I guess you're just saying there's a really strong correlation between, or seems to be, between elevated blood sugar and probably from intaking glucose and heart disease, right?
yeah, the mechanisms
It's
are
like
pretty
the
well
reference
known.
is very strong, but you couldn't claim scientifically that this causes that. But you can show that the reference between this and that is way stronger than no reference between, eating cholesterol and
So we know that sugar causes glycation, and we know that glycation causes inflammation, and we know that inflammation in the blood vessels causes them to constrict and raises your blood pressure. And then, so atherosclerosis typically only occurs in the arteries, and they typically only occur where the arteries bifurcate, where they split into two, and that causes a great deal of turbulence. So so basically your blood vessels are glycated and inflamed and irritated, and then they're getting blasted with high pressure, even higher pressure blood, and that causes a kind of callus to form. And that's called an atherosclerotic plaque, which builds up over years and causes a blockage, or it can do a thrombosis where it breaks off into the blood system and can get lodged near the brain and cause a stroke. So that's, as far as I guess I couldn't say that with 100% certainty, but that seems to be the mechanism that biochemistry has shown to cause heart disease.
Well, to add as well is we talked about cardiologists earlier, and they're falling into their own trap as well, because their number one cause of ending, on this earth is heart disease. If we looked at that collectively, I think I would turn around right away and say whatever they're telling, is not working.
Well, there's a quote that I love. I can't remember who said it, but it goes, "It's hard to get a person to understand a problem when his paycheck depends on him not understanding a problem," which you could pretty much apply to the entire medical, pharmaceutical, industrial universe. Because if they fully understood the problem, then the solution becomes very, very simple, and there's no profit to be made in that. There's no profit to be made in telling people just to consume as close to their species appropriate diet as possible. I mean, we could probably shut down the entire pharmaceutical industry if everybody cut out processed foods, seed oils, and sugar, and just ate a whole food diet. Even if you're eating like things that we don't particularly recommend, like maybe whole food carbs like potatoes and leafy green and cruciferous vegetables. But if everybody ate, abstain from the ultra processed foods, I mean, there really wouldn't be nearly as much chronic illness in this country as we have now, and it would definitely knock the legs out of the industry, as James said earlier.
I think we're making a serious dent, though. I claim that there are millions of carnivores. The quick math is if there are an even 1 million carnivores in the world of the global population of 8 billion, then that's 1 in 800 humans. So that's not too many. So I think there are multiple millions of carnivores in the world. And I think we're making a dent in this space because it's clearly reached carnivore doctors and carnivore influencers in the last month. Their messaging has changed very quickly from saying that some people have been on carnivore for near 20 years and suddenly, oh, now I need to add. Okay, no, you got influenced by somebody else because we as a collective group as carnivores are making a dent. We are, not giving money to a doctor every 3 month, every 6 month doctor visit. We aren't going in for a standard lab test that we don't even need in the first place. We aren't going to the hospitals because we're sick. We aren't buying pharmaceuticals because they're not getting prescribed anything. So we're making a dent, and I think it's growing quickly. Clearly, I think, like I said, one thing I mentioned as well is my friends or people I interact with, whether it's at work as well or even an outing yesterday. People are like, oh, you're doing carnivore? I've heard about that. I've heard that's healthy. There's less, Joey, you mentioned it at the top, 6 years ago, no one was really doing this. Now, people may not still be doing it, but they're aware of the benefits of eating meat, and it's making a dent in the pharmaceutical and medical industry. That's my take on it.
I think so. I think the reason we're all in this, I mean, I'll just speak for myself, so I don't speak for you lovely people. But for me, it's because this changed my life. Like, I see people in pain like I was. I can have some empathy. Like, I can understand. I didn't shower for a year. I didn't brush my teeth. Like, I was in a really dark mindset where I just hated myself.
Yeah.
And so when somebody lives with that kind of depression, like, nothing compares to that. Like, the physical pain, whatever. Like, oh, like, I have soreness in my throat and I feel like I can't breathe. Like, that's nothing compared to not wanting to live at all. So, like, just my experience with, and I'm an extreme example, right? Most people don't just eat sugar. Like, I didn't eat meat on purpose, and I only ate junk food. I ate candy. I'd order, like, the end of it was like, I guess it was during COVID. So, like, the food industry was now like, get your food all online. So I'd just order junk and junk and junk on purpose and throw up. And it was so bad and so dark. Like, I don't want people to have to live with that.
Yeah.
And I don't want people like my mother to have to live with their pain all the time when they don't have to. So I want to share with them my story, and hopefully it helps them. And if it doesn't, and I think the people who seek truth find it, and that's just how it is.
So
So
I have a question for you, Joey.
yeah.
What is it that you live for now?
Yeah, really I finally found my purpose, like my purpose, whatever. Who knows what our purpose is throughout all of time, but just to help people, to train people in the gym, to give them confidence, to make them feel like they really care about themselves. They genuinely care about themselves. So then you're not willing to keep these things that are horrible for you in your life, whether that be people, whether that be substance abuse. You need to change your food. Everything's going to change when you really care about yourself. Like, you stand up for yourself now. I'm not just willing to go with the flow of whatever situation and everything I do. I want other people to feel that.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then we can all be one example. Look, N equals 1, yes, times at least 1 million, even 100,000. N equals 1 times the millions of carnivores who are doing it. That's what it is. So that's my response to anybody who's curious or saying it shouldn't work. No, or you're an anecdote. No, I'm 1 times 1 million. And I also wanted to add that you be the example. The purpose for all of us is, I have a friend, for example, who went on carnivore. He found health, he found healing, lost weight. That's obvious for all of us. We know that in the space. And he got off carnivore. He got back into the mundane acts of the world. And I was super pumped, surprisingly, yesterday when I went out to play soccer with my friends. He's one of them who was there. And the first thing he says to me is, "Hey, I've been on carnivore for a week. I just thought I'd let you know. I'm back on it." Because he knows the benefit. And it's just one at a time. We show the healing, and the next person will take it on. And his girlfriend went carnivore, by the way, even though he got off of it. So that's another level or layer down the line that we all have. So I think you're right. Your purpose really makes an impact on one person, and that N equals one person then extends it to the next million of carnivores that will come down the line.
Absolutely. So Joey,
You know,
Mr. Philip Wynn has a question for you, dear. Can you see it on there?
Have there, let me get the, no. I'll just read it, what he means to say. Has it changed me spiritually being on carnivore? Absolutely. Came into this from a spiritual side. To me, the spiritual aspect of life, meaning the things you can't touch, feel, and see, is as real, no, more real than what I do touch, feel, and see. Because all this stuff is constantly changing. But these things that are influencing me through ways I don't understand, to me, they're stable. And my idea of God keeping me alive and praying and just submitting myself to something smarter than me. Like, I don't like the thought of I'm the smartest person in the universe, because I'm pretty damn dumb. So it sucks. It's like I'm going to get myself in all kinds of trouble. Like, I'd like to have grace and forgiveness, and all that sounds good to me. Like, I'd like to have some guidance, please. And I mean, fueling myself with good food has allowed that. I'm saying, hey, this place, this body that I have now, like, I welcome other good energy into it, not just I'm intentionally eating garbage. I'm going to have a garbage spiritual life. I'm intentionally eating good things. This opens me up to also invite good things in. Because one thing about bad things I've found, they don't ask you. You leave something open, they just come right in.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, look, that looks like a nice dark place. But where there's light, there can't be darkness. So eat something good, and maybe you'll start feeling better about you and your relationship with the universe and God and spirituality. It worked for me.
Definitely.
You know, this is the second podcast that I've been on with y'all, and the first podcast I was on, it was the first podcast y'all had when I joined the group. I don't remember his name, but he told a very similar story. Like, he was just on the verge of death, basically, and he had almost like a divine intervention at all. As well. He saw a video from, I don't remember who it was. He saw a video from. Oh, it was from Michaela Peterson, and she is, she's the lion dieter who had all these autoimmune issues, and she was similarly very, very unhealthy and in a lot of pain and discomfort, and she, healed herself with the lion diet, and he saw her and took that as a message from God and turned his life around. And then, like, I'm on this podcast now with Joey, and Joey's saying, something very similar, where, it was just like, God turned him towards a way to heal himself. And this is something I've always thought, because if you guys ever seen my post, I post a lot of stuff about like Zen and like kind of spiritual and mystical kind of things. And a lot of people will come on my page and say that eating meat is not spiritual because it lowers your vibration, you're eating dead things and whatnot. But I don't believe that you can connect to spirit, to God, to source, if your hardware is all mucked up. And everything about your hardware, about your physiology, and is screaming to consume animal products. Your brain doesn't function without it. Your heart doesn't function without it. So all of these things that are connected to spirituality kind of malfunction if you don't eat meat, and they're telling you that you can't be spiritual without it if you consume it.
Right.
And I think that's just absolutely ridiculous. And so it's not surprising to me that that consuming meat has, you know, rebooted his system and strengthened his connection to source. And I think that's super important. That's a big pet peeve of mine. I could talk about that all day.
As an animal, as a human animal myself, I refuse to sacrifice my own health by not eating animal foods. And a lot of people do. Also, to a point you made, maybe it was Selena or Steven, which is the earth is alive. And people want to try to feel good about saying, well, you shouldn't eat meat, it's not spiritual, eat plants. Well, plants are alive as well. And when you take plants off, you pluck them and they sit out, what do? They rot. So people, and I say people as in non-carnivores or people who are anti-carnivore or meat eaters in general, want to say you're eating rotting flesh. Well, okay. And I'm finding healing and health. Also, you're technically eating rotting plants and fruits as well. It's the same thing, yet I just refuse to sacrifice optimal health and, to the same point here, spirituality. Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a funny claim. You're eating something dead. It's like, okay, you eat them alive? Like, would you rather me to eat the animal alive? What are you saying?
Exactly.
Well,
What does that mean?
the funny thing is you have the lowest stomach pH in almost the entire animal kingdom. You're down there with like vultures and hyenas. So you take these vegetables and like you take your kale, which I guess if you eat it raw, is technically still alive, but then you dump it into a vat of acid. You know what I mean? Like and start. So as soon as you do that, it's dead. Or maybe even as soon as you start chewing it and the enzymes start breaking it down, it's dead. But you know, I mean, and you can't even digest it. So what does that even mean anyway? And there's also a big misconception about all the phytonutrients and everything and the antioxidants in plants. And of course, they don't even realize the anti-nutrient properties and everything. But everything that's good in the plant is good for the plant, and it's not good for you. It does the opposite for you. Like antioxidants in the plant are for the plant, and they're pro-oxidant for you when you eat them. And that's a huge misconception that people have. They're thinking they're eating antioxidants when they're actually eating things that cause oxidation. So it's I don't know. There's
And
a
aren't
lot.
most people taught that they're indigestible anyways? Like the
Yeah,
majority of plants. So like, what's the point? Even if all this, you can claim it's good for you, well, you can't digest it. Great.
Right.
I had a person
I
today
want
say
my
that because
shit thicker.
yeah. I had a person today saying, first of all, he accused me of going to the bathroom once a week, and then he said my
so
my
stupid, but it's
microbiome.
because of other
I know.
people say that.
Yeah,
Anyway,
it's
sorry,
just an
Steve.
assumption. No, it's cool. And then he said my microbiome must be very unhappy, and I'm like, my microbiome is adjusted to what the food that I eat. There's always a microbiome. It's just my microbiome isn't adjusted to eating plants, but it's adjusted to eating meat, and it's perfectly happy.
Yeah.
And then people say that you need the butyrate from the fiber fermentation. It's a short-chain fatty acid, but if you're in ketosis, one of the primary ketones your liver produces is something called beta hydroxybutyrate. So you're still getting the fatty acid that you need, whether you eat the fiber or not, without all the anti-nutrients, without the irritated bowels, the gastrointestinal distress, and the blocking of nutrient absorption. But going all over the place here with the fiber. But
No, do y'all get ketone breath from that? There's a question.
No.
Yeah, you do.
Ketone breath?
No. Yeah, where one of the byproducts is what acid?
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's
I don't know.
acetyl right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not all the time, but like particularly on my fasting days, usually that will become a thing sometimes by the like if once I pass the 24-hour mark, that becomes a thing for me. But on a typical like day-to-day basis,
No.
no. But
But
if
when you're
I'm
sleeping
fasting,
or at like, for me, I don't know if I just sit at a very high like ketosis level. I don't know. Maybe my ketone
right,
level's really high, but that's normal for me.
right. A lot of people actually find that to be very normal for,
Hmm.
a regular daily occurrence experience. Some people not as often. It's really just dependent, I think, on the individual themselves. Kind of like the same thing. My husband and I got into a whole conversation about like tooth plaque and good plaque versus bad plaque and whether or not it's actually detrimental in certain aspects. And I think it's kind of one of those things. Some carnivores, they become carnivore and they eliminate plaque altogether. They don't have any more. It never happens. And there's others, their plaque gets worse.
Hmm.
The difference is understanding that not all plaque is bad.
Yeah.
And most people don't know that. They're not aware of that. So they think it's a bad thing, but it's not. So I think it's just per individual. Same with like the whole keto breath thing. So another question, does your sweat smell sweet too? I don't know what my sweat smells. I can't really smell myself. I do know I never really wore deodorant a whole lot before, which sounds awful, but I never really smelled bad before. Thank God. I happen to be very fortunate that way. So I maybe put on deodorant like if I'm like at my sister's wedding the other weekend. I wore deodorant just like
Mhm.
to make sure, but
Yeah.
nobody's running away from me.
I'll jump in.
But are they
I
running to you because you smell so sweet?
right.
Yes, bats. Get away.
I'll jump in and say as well, like I like to be active every day, as I mentioned. I'm outside most of the time with doing agility for a minimum of 30 minutes, change of direction, and then I walk the park or the beach all day. And I can just compare myself to prior to being carnivore, and I don't have the same level of funk, so to speak.
Right.
It's completely different. And that's my take. That's my take on it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it may be different for everybody. I also don't, if I'm not going to work, I don't like to wear deodorant. And I don't tend to smell too bad. I do the typical sniff under the pits test. And I tend to smell cleaner, probably because eating more optimally.
Yeah,
My
same here.
my
I
husband
don't
smells better
smell
than he
bad
used to.
anymore.
Yeah.
Your husband too?
Yeah, he smells a lot better than he used to. By the end of every single day, he had a very strong odor. Um, did manual labor work, so I mean, sort of expected when you're on a
Yeah.
standard diet, you don't realize that there's an option. But since being carnivore, like I don't I don't know that I've even smelled him like how I
Yeah.
used to, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's different.
That makes
I
Mhm.
such a
don't know
huge
if anyone
difference.
debates this either. Like, doesn't pretty much everyone agree, like, if you eat more toxic stuff, you smell worse?
Usually,
Yeah.
yeah,
I don't
that's
know if
Carnivore
they
or not?
realize. I have a guy that works with me, and I had a conversation with him about this. But he's clean. He takes showers and everything. But when we do like firefighter training, it's very it's pretty brutal, and you're in like 75 pounds of gear and everything, so you're just sweating, awfully
Yeah.
for like an hour or however long we train. And when he takes his gear off, he smells. Uh, he's the one time I smelled him, I was like, I was like, what is that smell? You smell like a bag of rotting onions or something. And I wasn't
Yeah.
trying to be mean to him or anything. I tried to explain to him that the way that he's eating is excreting through his sweat, and it doesn't smell good, so it's probably not good what he's eating. But and then like I noticed too, like when if I forget to put deodorant on throughout the day, like I can smell myself, but it's not like BO. I don't know if I would call it like a sweeter smell, but it's not like, ugh, like I'm grossing people out. It's just somebody might smell it and be like, oh, I can smell you, but it's not disgusting smelling. It's different. Like I've smelled myself before where I was like, oh my God, I need to take a shower or put some deodorant on. I'm gross, but it's not like that anymore. And one thing I will say also about my teeth, I used to, I used to have, it used to be for me that no matter how often, no matter what, whether, if I was flossing every day and brushing my teeth twice a day or 3 times a day or whatever, I would always have a little bit of blood coming from my gums when I brushed my teeth. No matter how healthy I tried to be with my dental health, it would always bleed. And now, now I can absolutely just abuse my gums with a toothbrush, and I'll spit out the toothpaste, and it is white. It's pure white. There's no red at all, and it's like, it's pretty incredible. I was like, that's just got to be the carnivore right there. It's got, and obviously, like how people used to brush their tongues or scrape their tongues. I don't have any of that nasty stuff on my tongue anymore. So I can't say that my breath always smells good all the time, but I don't have like stank breath anymore. That's all carbohydrates, man.
Right. I can attest to the same. I had the same problem. And I could never figure out like why. It didn't matter. I was also like a really hyper fixated toothbrusher. Like I would brush my teeth sometimes 5 times a day. I was so like obsessive about it. But no matter what, whether I did, whether I didn't, how often, my gums would always bleed. And I was very like, I'm doing my gums now, and now I'm doing my teeth, and now we're going this way, like stupidly obsessive. Since being full carnivore, my gums haven't bled at all. At all.
Awesome.
What's
Right?
up with us and teeth? Like as a kid, this is getting weird now. I would literally, my teeth wouldn't be loose, and I'd sit there, whatever, maybe we're watching Tom and Jerry, and I would wiggle my teeth out. I would like rip out my teeth before they were loose. I liked the feeling of my gums bleeding. I would intentionally like, oh, the floss broke. This time we'll bundle 5 layers or whatever.
Oh my gosh.
But I've never had a cavity. I never really had teeth problems other than bruxism. I grind my teeth, especially. I have to be conscious, like when I'm doing activities, not to go. Instead, I go, no, like to go puffer fish.
Right.
For those who are listening, that was funny faces you just made. That was awesome. I also think it's interesting by going to carnivore. I've heard of stories of people's teeth healing by eating meat. What you
Jordan
think
Peterson.
is? Oh, okay.
Yeah, me
Well,
too.
he's a great example, of course. And I've heard many of us other enthusiasts as well. Obviously, dentistry as a whole is very telling of our health, as I've learned over the last couple of years. But for me specifically, I've changed the way that like my mouth has changed forms in a way. Meaning, I used to talk out of one side of my mouth, so this side would stay down and closed. This side would talk more, and it's more of an even smile. It's more of an even way of talking. And I'd go as far to argue, I see it in myself, but my teeth have straightened over these 2 years. They weren't crooked. I'm not saying they were crooked, but there's a lot of healing in the mouth as well. But yeah, teeth can heal. Cavities aren't forever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, there's another industry where they try and get you. Well, welcome to industries.
Welcome to
But
industry.
they told me I should get braces too, and it's like my teeth are a little crooked underneath, but
Yeah,
it
see, I
leads
have
some.
like the same thing.
You too?
Yeah.
Mr. Husband and teeth smiles, yeah.
Come on, Steven, with your black screen.
I know,
Yeah.
right?
Am I still black? Oh my God.
Yeah.
You're black. I feel like should he? Yeah, am I still black? No, Steven.
I'm sorry, I can't.
You don't
I
get to
can't not
claim
help. James is like,
No,
you don't get that card.
that.
What do you mean, you people? Should I leave and come back?
I'd love to see your face again.
Oh goodness. All right. Oh, that's so sweet. Right back.
Big smiles.
Anyway,
Yes, big smile.
ridiculous. But yeah, they tell you need this or that, and then it's like they also told me same with eyesight. They're like, you're on the verge. You can get glasses or you cannot. Like, you should probably get glasses. I'm like, wait, I cannot get glasses, but I should get
But I
glasses.
should, right?
Okay. And like now my vision's perfect, but okay. So weird.
Talking about that, yeah. My left eye about, let's see, how long ago is it now? About 6 years ago. 6 years ago, I started to get less
Ah.
vision capabilities in my left eye. And
Am I-
I
am I here?
remember, yes, you're here.
All right, awesome.
I remember I always had like really stupidly strong vision. Like I could see like a street sign that was 4 blocks down. I could read it. And I went into the doctor about 6 years ago, and this was before obviously being carnivore. And I was like, I'm having a problem. Obviously something's going on with my vision. I said, when I look now, I can only see 3 blocks away instead of 4. And she looks at me and she goes, yeah, most people can't see 2. So I wouldn't be complaining. And this is like a weird like perspective of like doctor things for me. And I'm like, well, it doesn't matter what most people can do when I'm telling you that there's a decline. Something's not right. What can I do about it? Like, are there things? And she was just like, well, we could give you glasses and that's about it. And I'm like, there's nothing to help people like strengthen their vision and go through all of that? She was like, no. I remember thinking, there's nothing? Like, really? There's really nothing? And then since being carnivore, obviously I don't have the problems anymore, so that's pretty cool. Carnivore just fixes everything, guys.
How many conditions are marketed that way? Oh, you have this for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just enjoy it. Here's some pills.
There's some pills. Shake, shake, shake.
Absolutely not.
If you take enough of these, you won't feel anything anymore.
Absolutely
No
not.
shit. Like nothing. I just all done.
The only pill that I need is either an egg, a series of eggs, or a steak.
Right?
Only pills, yeah. It just heals a lot. I mean, we can go down the list. One thing I thought was interesting, I heard in another podcast, someone mentioned eye exercises.
Yeah.
So, yeah, eye improvement. That's a way to improve sight.
Right.
The same way that Joey, you train in the gym, Steven, you train in the gym. I'm outside in the park doing agility. Like, we can train our eyes the same way and get healthier.
Here's one really, really good exercise. Really, really good. So simple. Sit in a room, sit like across it. Say you've got like a 12 by 14 room, giving you like a bedroom perspective on average bedroom, right?
We have to build a room for this.
Right. Yes. Special room in addition to your house. So sit across the room, and on the opposite wall, put a piece of paper with like a dot or a circle, like the size of like the end of your pinky or something. Can you see that? Where's my thing? End of your pinky, right? Sit all the way across the room and hold your finger right here in front of your nose and focus on the dot all the way across the room. And then immediately focus in and keep doing that. It actually strengthens the muscle, but you have to like get to where you actually focus clearly and then focus clearly and keep doing that. It strengthens your eye muscles. My aunt actually, she went from having to be required to mark eyeglasses on her driver's license to where now she doesn't, and she's 75 now.
Wow.
Yeah. So
if my nose is big enough, can I just focus on my nose and then all these lies I've been telling about nutrition,
Right. You could, but the point is to actually create a strong focus. So when you do your nose, everybody see that? When you do your nose, it stays soft focus.
I see that.
Yeah. So
I love it. Selena, that's an awesome explanation of like an eye workout. And then I also failed to mention, I know you're in the gym too, Selena. I see your posts. I have to call that out.
What? Yes. I like to be strong.
Yep.
I don't know any of us here that don't, but
No, it's absolute an attempt to go outside is necessary. Now, I know I said that, but I don't no longer am I like, okay, I barely want to work out today. Do I have to go to the gym? And I'm at the gym or I'm on my run and I'm just like, okay, I can't wait to go in the past, go have my pizza, go have a beer. That's not the case anymore. It's like I'm waking up, just like you said, Selena. I'm out of bed. I'm going to work out in the morning now before work. it's non-negotiable, if at all possible. Getting up, go be active, and then if I have time, just soak in the sun, grounded, sunshine, shirt off, you know, and then it's time to get in one box to go to another box, that whole cycle. But you know,
box to box to box.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing? Like enjoying the activities themselves rather than dreading them, so that you can go home and do things that feel good for half a second for your brain, you know, and then need to eat more and more of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, guys, we have been on for almost 2.5 hours. And
our focus is impeccable.
Right? As much as I think we could go on forever, probably a good time to Selena and her 4 a.m. gym. I know, right? 4 a.m. Let's rock it, babe. Go ahead and cut us down here and shut everything down and say our goodbyes. And hopefully Joey will get you on again at some point in the future. Would love to talk with you more. It's been lovely. You're a kind soul, and that's nice to see. Although I don't meet many of us in the carnivore world that aren't, but which is a funny aspect to being carnivore for sure. Either way,
It's
you
been
all.
such a blessing. Thank you for
Yeah, you got an awesome story too. It was good to hear it.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think we see that part of your story in your posts as frequently to know it, and it was definitely nice to see this side, not to necessarily hear that you went through that kind of suffering, but to just know what got you here, what's inspired you to do what you're doing, and why you're choosing to help people. So thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, guys, we are going to shut it down. NC7, if you want to get on someday, send me a message. I wish you had Instagram, man.
Okay, you all.
But we are out. All right.
Much love.
Until next time.
Bye, James.
See you next time.